Yeah, it's going to be devastating to people in San Antonio, to people in Texas, and throughout the country. For example, you're talking about 50% of births in Texas being paid for with Medicaid. Harder for people to afford to go to college.
All right, and joining us now on the phone, we have Democratic Congressman from Texas, Joaquin Castro. Congressman, you heard the governor talking about all those things that could be potential liabilities for Republicans. Not just the health care part of it, but this bill impacts college students who use Pell Grants, rural Texans who are relying on Medicaid. How are people in your district in Texas going to be impacted by this spending bill? And do you think Democrats can channel that into effective messaging against the administration come the midterms?
Yeah, it's going to be devastating to people in San Antonio, to people in Texas, and throughout the country. For example, you're talking about 50% of births in Texas being paid for with Medicaid. And so just about every age of life, there is something bad and harmful in that bill for people. It's going to cut financial aid for students, so it's going to make it harder for people to afford to go to college. It's going to make it harder for people to put their parents in long-term nursing home care, harder for people who have a job, and because our health care is tied to our jobs, usually, people who are entrepreneurs and want to start their own small business, what they've been able to do since the ACA came online is get a subsidy to be able to afford health care insurance. Well, for a lot of people, that's going to be threatened now.
So most of these things that he's saying are speculations. They're speculative, and we're going to be checking with Grok to find out if the big beautiful bill actually does some of these things that he's pointing out. People losing funding for Medicaid and students not being able to get subsidies for attending college and the works. We're going to be looking at that, but this is the game plan of most Democrats, and I know that some Republicans do it. They start all the fear-mongering, but the Democrats hold the gold star in fear-mongering. Out the gate, it's devastating, and he begins to lay out all the trigger words that once people hear those trigger words, they stop using their thinking faculties. They just lose their minds because words like devastating led the response.
And so this is a devastating, vast transfer of wealth from the working class and the middle class up to the wealthiest Americans, the super rich, and the wealthiest corporations.
All right, so when you start hearing transfer of wealth from the super rich, wealthiest Americans, I want you to learn how to catch these phrases because these are socialist talking terms or talking points. These are socialist talking points. Why is it the go-to for Democrats? Because they trigger the voter base, the masses who aren't rich, who don't know how to create wealth. They trigger them to say these people who are the rich are against us. And then they can begin to lay out other policies like taxing the rich more, let them pay more taxes. The rich already pay a disproportionate amount of taxes already. So all the rhetoric around this is really tired, and we've gotten used to it. Now we're going to fact check several claims of his on Grok, and then we will flip over to hear what President Trump has to say about the passing of the big beautiful bill. The response from Grok is that the one big beautiful bill does not explicitly strip Medicaid from Americans who qualify under current rules, but its work requirements, eligibility checks, and funding cuts are projected to result in millions losing coverage. So that means that there are requirements so that there is no waste in giving free healthcare to people who can afford to pay for their own private healthcare. This is cutting waste. It doesn't strip it. It simply cuts it away from people who don't need to be under Medicaid. So again, the Democrats are conflating issues, and they're trying to claim that, oh, they're trying to take Medicaid away from those who need it. If you can afford your own health insurance, why are you going to the hospital on the government's dime? All right. This is again the Democrats trying to push the country further into socialist tendencies. Only socialist countries pay for universal health care. Anyone who can afford health care should be able to go out and pay for their health care. Free healthcare should only be available to those who genuinely cannot afford it. Let's look at one more thing that they claim, and that's about it cutting funding from college students. The one big beautiful bill does not explicitly target student funding, but its Medicaid cuts will likely strip healthcare access from many low-income students, particularly college students facing work requirements and K-12 students reliant on school-based health services. That means these people already have coverage elsewhere, so they don't have to be double booked. And now I'm not too clear on how the low-income students are affected. So if you know how that works, let me know in the comment section. But again, another claim by the Democrats that it explicitly strips students of these benefits is again a lie. Now let's hear from President Trump about his view on the passing of the bill.
Immigration is covered. We covered just about everything. Again, it's the biggest bill ever signed of its kind.
So President Trump is focusing on the campaign promises that he made, providing more resources to protect the border. He also focused on the tax cuts. And these are campaign promises that he made, and he's keeping those promises. The thing with bills is that there's always bloat, because the House Democrats and the House Republicans always want to shove in the things that they want into these bills, either to act as a poison pill to stall the passing of the bill, or to ride the coattails of the bill to get something that they want. So one of the two has happened, causing the bill to be bloated, and many critics of the bill have some valid points, but President Trump is focusing on the parts of the bill that fulfill his campaign promises.
I did not have much of a problem with any of them. I had 2 negative votes, but we had whatever it was. I think a few of them I did, but I think they would have gone yes anyway. No deals, no deals. What I did is we talked about how good the bill is. That's the deal, I guess, when you think about it. But obviously convinced them, but it was not hard. This is a great bill. This is going to be a great bill.
So President Trump, again, replying that the benefits of the bill are his focus, and the codifying the tax laws, the tax cuts that he instituted in 2017, I believe, into law and making them permanent has been a big win, not just for people who own lots and lots of property and are the top 1%, but also for the regular guy. They also get the tax cuts, and then the no tax on tips also has been passed, and people should be celebrating these wins. I know that there will be some aspects of the bill that make people quite uncomfortable. The increase of the national deficit, or the debt, is a key issue, and honestly, that is one train that will take a while to slow down, because government spending is out of control, and in order to do a hard break of that train is going to result in a lot of devastating consequences. Now, here I go using the Democrat words. Anyway, here's the part where you come in with your thoughts on this story. Do you agree with the Democrats that the Trump bill is only focused on transferring wealth over to the mega wealthy, or are the benefits of the tax cuts actually a thing to rejoice over? And what do you think about the claims of the Democrats that the bill strips away healthcare and benefits from students and low-income citizens of the country? Let me know your take on this. We fact-checked the claims on this video, and you saw the output from Grok. Do your own research, download the bill for yourself, dump it into Grok or ChatGPT, and ask it certain questions that you've heard, the talking points from the Democrats and the talking points from the Republicans, and then let the machine do the job and give you the answers. Fact check everything. Don't believe everything. Don't even believe everything Trump says. Always fact check and make sure that you have all the information to come to your own conclusions. And if you haven't watched the video about another Trump win where the Supreme Court allows his administration to continue with mass deportations of criminal illegal immigrants, don't go away because that video is coming up next.